Here.
Trustee Boyd?
Here.
Trustee Griffin? Here. Trustee Schaefer?
Present.
Trustee Morton?
Here.
Trustee Ohm?
There's nothing to disclose from closed session. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Student Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin? Yes. Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. We have a couple public hearings. First one is on the Education Protection Account Funding Plan. The district's required to create an EPAFP to determine how the monies received from the Educational Protection Account will be spent. The board requests public input at this time before a plan is adopted in a resolution later in the agenda.
So these are all spent on salaries, as we have done for many years now.
Anybody online?
I see no one.
Okay. I close the public hearing. Next one, public hearing regarding the formation of the MUSD Maintenance Assessment District, ordering the improvements as described and confirming the diagram and assessment, levy of the assessment for fiscal year 25-26. The board requests public input at this time before the plan is adopted later in the agenda. No one online?
No one.
Okay, I closed that meeting. Could I have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda. I'll second.
Student Trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. Okay, reports. Knut.
All right. So this is my last report ever, so that is fun. So let me just get right into it. I asked, will you be attending either the community high school graduation or the Mendocino high school graduation? 75% of people said that they will be attending one of those. And one person said no. And then I also asked for sort of like an end of the year staff shout out for all the work that they have contributed over the past year, and these are the responses. I love Marshall Brown. That's what someone says. This person says Diana because she is the best and she has some food for her PSP this morning. Very nice. This person says Marshall Brown for running 3 different kinds of classes and the entire radio station. Not only him, but Carolyn for pushing her students to become better in all aspects, not just in the kitchen. This person says, I would like to shout out Pam Duncan for her creative final that forced me to learn about politics, whether I wanted to or not. And then next question here, I don't know. There was actually not very good responses for this survey this time, so sort of end of survey time. But also what's been going on recently, we had an assembly recently in which we presented the civics chords of engagement, and that was basically just the civics chord. We've brought this up at a previous board meeting, but to recognize civic engagement over a project in the past year for seniors, and this was an opportunity for them to tell the school what they've been involved with, and also sort of like an opportunity to motivate underclassmen to pursue a civic seal as well. And then, yeah, that was fairly what we've been doing. Yeah.
I'd like to thank you for your year on the school board. I think you've done a fantastic job this year.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been enjoyable.
It's certainly been a pleasure having you here.
Where are you off to next year?
USC. So, yeah, in international relations and global business.
And the world.
In the world. One step at a time.
Look forward to following your progress.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Tobin?
All right, there's a lot going on this time of year, so you get pictures. That's what happens when things are busy. So I do actually want to acknowledge some retirements. There was a nice celebration for 3 longtime district employees, Diane, Tricia, and Barb, all 25-plus year employees, were celebrated last Wednesday at the Brickery in a really nice gathering. Just recently, we also have Kathy O'Grady, who's been an integrative aide for the last 16 years. So a lot of experience retiring. These people have put in a lot of time and care and love, and we appreciate them. We have a couple people who are moving on from MUSD, not fully retiring. Mae Martin's been with us for 6 years, filling a challenging science teaching position in the physical sciences. And Liz Newkirk, who has been with us first as a registrar and then as a counselor over the last 16 years. And we will definitely miss her knowledge, her expertise, her advocacy for students will leave a big gap for us that we will work hard to fill. Some of you were at the spring showcase. This was a very, I would say, festive showcase this year. Lots of people, lots of excitement, lots of things to see, from the sort of exploratorium of the E-Lab to the competitive chop competition in the culinary to a full-on heavy metal concert in the PAC. It was pretty much the most exciting showcase yet. So that was a lot of fun. 6 hours went really quickly, and most of the teachers spent a lot more than 6 hours. They were there all day, as were some of the kids, getting ready for that. So thank you to all the CTE program for pulling off another great showcase. Just a little bit, can you refresh that, please, actually, maybe? Refresh the slideshow? It's a little bit, looks like it's a little, just like the students this time of year, cramming it in there.
Just finished it 3 minutes ago.
Yeah. Uh-oh. One slide up from there. Okay. Just a little bit about the class of 2025. I'll repeat some of this at graduation on Friday, but this class really is, they are really overachievers. They have set the bar high for our students. They're one of our larger classes at 44. We will have 39 of those on our stage. We have some graduating early this year. And well-rounded too. Very academic, but also many skilled students as well, woodworkers, cooks, artists. So 80% completed a pathway. They really made us look good in the dual enrollment department. We're gonna have to really pump up the next year's juniors and seniors to pick that up. 171 college courses, 538 units. 68% A through G prepared. This class was deep, 40% of the class had a 4.0 or higher weighted. That's pretty much unheard of. So that was, you guys were competitive amongst each other as well. Set the record for scholarships, never had that much. That's a record by, 50,000. Last year when they were juniors, they You guys saw those test scores. That was these guys, class of 2025, highest scores in the county. And Emily, I just threw it in there for
That's
you.
nice of you.
But yeah,
Appreciate that.
they did win 2 Coast Cup within their 4-year span, which little Mendocino doesn't always pull that off, but these guys did. So, you know, the graduations are coming up here. We have the community school. Actually, graduation season is, whoop, go back one slide. We'll get to that. Graduation season's a little smaller this year without sunrise, so I was trying to figure out, why does it seem a little easier? Well, we're not packing up to move out of some building. You know, there's one less school. So it's actually yeah, okay, that's right. So community school will go off on Thursday, 4 p.m. outside, and we have an early graduation for the high school. Since every year it's been a little different, we're just trying out different things. So we're trying out kind of the afternoon graduation inside the gym. They're setting up the stage right now. Remember, we don't have a stage anymore, so they got to build it all. It's not going to be quite as high up. It'll be interesting to see what that's like. So that'll be Friday at 4 p.m. So hopefully everyone can come and celebrate the class of 2025. And then lastly, I'd like to say thank you as well to Canute, and good luck at USC. Thank you for doing this for a couple years, and make sure you give Mr. Oatney the rundown on, right? He's taken over for you, isn't he?
Oh,
Max?
yeah. Max will
Give
be.
him the rundown on the tricks of the trade, and
Yeah.
pass on your
Pass on
your
those
knowledge.
forms.
So, all right. Any questions? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Jason?
All right, so yeah, I was going to mention some of the personnel leaving as well. And who we've hired. So Carol Salo is retiring after 42 years as an aide at the KAKX school, and Megan Elwood is replacing her. Diane Price is leaving, retiring, and Haley Garibaldi is taking her spot. Trish Evans is retiring after 28 years, I believe, and Alicia Burke is taking her position. And then I feel terrible, but at the district party last week, I forgot that Barb Mueller also retired this year. She retired in September though, so it felt like 3 years ago. So she also retired, and her position was not replaced. And then Kathy O'Grady is retiring as well, and that position is also open. So let's see, Tobin mentioned a couple of the staff members here resigning. Angel Lou, I'm going to butcher this name, Angel Lou Degala Liwaigan is replacing May Martin as a science teacher. Anna Yanez is replacing Liz Newkirk as our guidance counselor. And elsewhere in the district, Amanda Carbone was our preschool teaching assistant, and that position's open in Elk. Rebecca Cumby resigned, and Alice Pippett is taking over next year as a Compshe school teacher. Darcy Ploker resigned, and that position, I guess, well, I don't know. Is it? No. Okay, so Seneca Sluice is replacing Darcy. And then Haley, who is our cook manager, was our bus driver, and Theodora Parker has been hired to take her position. And then Nicole Gold is resigning as well. And then Molly Root is taking a leave of absence, and Taylor Mize has replaced Molly. So a lot of changes next year, with probably more to come as we move into the summer. But thank you to all those employees who put some hard work in many years. And again, I feel very fortunate that so far we've filled every position, and a lot of districts in our county have a very difficult time filling positions. So we feel very fortunate so far. Let's see, the MCN sale is progressing. All the paperwork has been signed. We had a good meeting on Friday between Isaac Whippy, the city manager, Sarah McCormick, I believe she's a city planner, and the head of HR for the city. They met with all the MCN staff, and I was there as well. It seemed to be it was a very positive meeting. It felt very positive. The MCN staff had a chance to get all their questions answered. And as of July 1st, the city will take over. We have a lot of transition planning and nuts and bolts to take care of, but we have 3 weeks to do that. So we'll be busy making sure all the financial information is transferred over to the city. And I really appreciate the MCN staff for what they've done for over 20 years in our district. And this staff in particular has really been there through difficult times at MCN. And they've always been so positive and continued that customer service that we all have known to come to love and know at MCN. So they'll probably remain in that building for a couple months while the city finds a place for them. So it'll be nice to still have them around for 6 months or so, up to 6 months. That's it.
Okay. MUTA, I have to get used to that U.
Thanks so much. I'm used to not speaking these microphones correctly. A rock show. All right. So I just had a few notes I wanted to share. My head is so scrambled at the end of the year, and we just had our meeting where we took a few votes on some things. So really excited to move on with the agreement on the salary increase. We know it's taken a lot of work. I want to recognize our negotiations team, our admin, and of course the board. I realize that this is one of those things that should not have to be hard for anybody, to come up with this. There's so many amazing things that are going on in our district, and I keep saying that, and I hope I don't, sound like a broken record, but just even this last week, Tobin showed the pictures of the CTE showcase, just completely blown away by the talent. I see Canute and what, people do in the media lab, just even the surveys that you served on the board. So just amazing stuff and what it takes to keep this stuff going and to keep people up and their self-worth and self-being up. One of the things I want to point out was John Moran. He did a 3-day hullabaloo, which was, we've been trying to figure out how do we do an overnight with students at the school. I had several request them in my classroom, and we never got to that point because, as 7th and 8th graders, I told them they can't wear me out like during the day and then expect to do an overnight. But John pulled it off. He did a 3-day hullabaloo, and it started with canoeing, and then they spent the night on Friday night when we had the 8th grade dance going on, and it worked out. They walked down to Frankie's, they did a night walk, and all this amazing stuff. And so just these things that just happen and just keep happening, amazing stuff everywhere you look, from the top down. So I just wanted to send my gratitude for that, but I also want to plant the seed of the cost of living. We're still trying to catch up with that COLA thing that we don't necessarily get, and we've really hit some hard times with this. And I just appreciate everybody coming together and look forward to working next year. Hopefully don't have to work as hard as we did this year to get back to where we need to be. So I'm going to share a letter that Cecilia, my wife, sent out to staff. I don't know how far it went in the district, but I'm just going to read just a quick letter if that's okay. She said, reflecting on this year, I recognize that there were moments that were professionally challenging for me. I imagine I'm not alone. I work alongside you and see how deeply you care, how hard you work, and how much of yourself you give to this profession, our school, and to your students. That's why, as you head into summer, I want to encourage you to take time to restore yourself, your energy, your strength, your resilience, your empathy, your compassion, your kindness, your desire to help. During the summer, we often feel like we have this extra time and a sense of pressure to catch up on everything we couldn't do during the school year. Spring cleaning, unpacking, organizing, gardening, and more. And yes, this extra time is a gift for getting things done, but it's also a gift to focus on something just as important, the self-care that may have been pushed aside. Maybe it's taking more frequent walks, maybe it's watching more sunrises and sunsets, sharing extra snuggles on the couch with your loved ones, finally scheduling those medical appointments that can only happen during school hours, catching up with friends and family over the phone, sitting by the fire on a chilly coastal morning, or simply sipping tea, coffee, or a glass of wine. Whatever it looks like for you, I hope you remember you are worthy of the time it takes to do the things you need to heal your heart. So enjoy the summer, do the things that restore you because you truly deserve it, and I look forward to seeing you in the fall when we can continue this work together of self-care. And so I just want to aim that right back at the board and our admin as well, because we appreciate all the work that everybody's doing. All right? Any questions? I don't think we have too much to, no? Okay, cool. Thanks you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Anyone here from CMS or online? No.
I don't see anyone.
Board reports.
Nothing for you? Nothing for me. I also wanted to echo, thank you, Knut, for your board service. Really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. You've been a wonderful trustee. And good luck next year. Yes, that's about it.
Yeah, I'll add my thanks to everybody. I mean, I think, when you have a good year and everybody's feeling tired at the end of it, I think that's a sign of how hard everybody's working. And, I think we know that next year is going to be pretty much the same. It's just a process. So thanks to the staff, thanks to, my fellow board members. We couldn't do it without everybody pulling together.
I wanted to also bring up MCN. This has been an amazing 31-year ride, and I was there at the beginning. It was an incredibly exciting time. Thanks again to Mitch Sprague for hooking us up with NASA and Autodesk and getting things going. It was a whole different view of the internet back then. We were incredibly optimistic, and many great things have happened as a result of the internet, and some things that are not so great. But there were so many teachers involved in getting that going. And just one little anecdote, a person from NASA was in my office hooking up the grammar school to the connection up here, which went down to Ames in the Bay Area, NASA's place down there. And it was basically 2 phone lines at that point that connected this whole district to NASA. And this man was working in my office. I don't remember his name, but he was working really fast and really hard to program everything and get it connected because he had to rush off to hook up Bill Clinton at the White House. So Mendocino Grammar School was hooked up to the internet before Bill Clinton, right before, the day before. That's how crazy it was that our school district was doing that. And internet service providers in school districts, there may be 3 or 4, or I don't know exactly how many, but back then it was an incredibly rare thing. And the service they provided is so different than anything you would get from anybody else. It's just something for this community to continue to be grateful for. And I look forward to them taking that culture to Fort Bragg. And, I hear concerns from people up on the ridges about, well, when are we going to get fiber? And I think everybody here is getting fiber, I hope, because one of my big hopes is that the hospital will get very involved with that, and that it will give us a better chance of keeping a hospital here. It certainly provides a lot of things to hospitals that can't be done without fiber. And I hope they take that on, and I hope our former employees will really put some energy into that. So that's my comment. I guess a few more minutes before parent community comment. Are you going to talk about phase 3?
Sure. So there really isn't anything to update regarding phase 3 because, as you all know, we put a stop to all spending, but we are continuing to work on the projects that we had already started. The facilities committee met, and we may be coming to the board with a request to spend just a little more money because we are potentially going to be receiving $20,000 from MCRPD for the tennis courts. And then I know Muse has about $22,000 set aside for the tennis courts. So that's $42,000 that we don't want to miss out on. And the quote I think we received was about $48,000, and we do need to do a little bit of tree maintenance. So we may be coming to the board with just a small request to, because it might be a kind of use it or lose it situation with MCRPD. We can check that out, but that's the only update for phase 3.
Okay,
Did I say that right?
The quote was only 40,500.
Oh, I thought it was 48
No.
with that.
So it's only in the event
Oh,
that we
okay.
need to
Okay.
spend
Well, there you go.
tree trimming.
So it would just be for some small tree removal and tree trimming.
okay, Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report.
Yeah, so the Citizens Oversight Committee met, I forget when it was late May, I think it was 22nd. And we shared with them the bond audit report, the financials, and I gave them a tour, and their report has been submitted, very similar to past years. But, you know, these people have Ray Ellercon, Sarah Spring, Carol Loomis, Jennifer Clark, and Kathy Holmes. They've served on the committee for all 4 years of this bond, so or 5 years actually. So I'd like to thank them for their continued service on that committee.
So is this their final report?
No, I think we'll have to do more as long as we're spending bond money. We'll do it again next year.
Any other questions or comments? Board calendar.
Well, it's an action item.
Oh, it's an action item. You're going to have to remind me.
Yeah, I know. I'll do that for you.
I'll move to approve the annual report of the Citizens Oversight Committee.
I'll second.
Call the roll.
Student trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Floyd.
Yes.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer.
Yes.
Trustee Morton.
Yes. Okay, 25-26 board calendar. The board will review and possibly approve the board calendar for this next fiscal year. Anybody have any comments on the calendar?
This is this, sorry, Aaron, I'm having a memory issue here. Is there
It was
anything
brought to our
specific?
attention that the calendar that we created and
Oh.
approved at last meeting,
That's it.
there was a date that didn't line up with when some things were due, so we moved the date. The December board meeting.
Right.
Okay. So could I have a motion, unless there's more discussion, could I have a motion?
Well,
to-
I know that Aaron brought up earlier whether we want to continue having this meeting the Tuesday before graduation, or whether we want to do it afterwards. And I guess there are two ways to look at it. One is that some people want to go off and have a vacation afterwards. I mean, for example, Emily this year is taking a vacation starting Monday, so that would make her not have that ability to do that. I don't know, I just thought I'd bring it up since it was raised.
If I could insert my opinion, I think we should keep it as is. I think it's nice to have these meetings during the school year, just like we moved the August meeting this past year during the school year, because I think teachers are more likely to attend, and I think it's a one-off thing. I think that Aaron will not have a son next year as a senior, but that's just my 2 cents. I think it's worked fine the last couple of years,
Okay.
but it's up to you. You're the board.
And the reason to have two back-to-back is because of the approval of the LCAP and the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be done at 2 separate meetings. You know, they have to be introduced at one meeting and then adopted at a subsequent meeting.
Have we done that every year, had 2 meetings in June? Okay, I've forgotten.
So I'll move to adopt the meeting calendar as it was presented in the board packet.
Sorry.
What's that?
Can I propose one amendment? The January 7th day, it says it's the second Wednesday, but I think by definition it's not. And the January 15th, that might be the third Thursday, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
the board workshop. That's the first week back at school in January. I'm wondering whether we could back that up by a couple weeks.
It's always been a tough one, so I appreciate you saying that. It's always hard to come back after that 2 weeks and then have a board workshop on the immediate Wednesday. I don't know, it's a great idea.
Can we push it to January 21st, which is 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays later?
I would be happy with that.
Just the board workshop?
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
So I guess I'm proposing an amendment to your motion.
That's fine. I mean, I don't particularly care. I know that we have, it's odd that we have more meetings in that particular, period of time, because we have our superintendent evaluation the first week in February. But I don't, it doesn't matter to me whether we do it the 21st or the 7th. I can, so if there's desire not to do it the 7th, let's make it the 21st.
Or we could combine, just saying we could combine meetings somehow.
I don't see how you could do that. I think we have a
Yeah.
routine for the
Yeah.
evaluation meeting that
Right.
wouldn't fit into the workshop.
It's fine with me.
So we're making that, I'm accepting the motion to make that the 21st, not the 7th of January.
Okay. With that change, I will second your motion.
There you go.
Could we have the roll?
Student trustee Finsland,
Yes.
trustee Floyd,
Yes.
trustee Griffin,
Yes.
trustee Schaefer,
Yes.
trustee Morton.
Yes. Okay, it's time for parent community comment. This is for items not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of this board. Is there anybody that has comments on anything not on the agenda?
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm a little hard of hearing. You're not speaking into the microphone, or are you
Oh,
asking for comment?
yes, we are.
Well, these microphones don't amplify. It's just for online, so.
It-
but-
Well, I'll do my best, but.
Okay, if you'd like to comment, we'd like you to go up there. This is for broadcasting online. It's not for in here.
Hello, my name is Lee Lett. I've been an NCN customer since dial-up sometime in the 90s, I think. I don't really know. This is very short notice for me. I've kind of been out of the loop. I'm retired, and I fought the city of Fort Bragg long and hard on the Casper dump that they polluted the groundwater out in the East Casper area by digging trenches into the ground and putting in household items and lighting them on fire with gasoline and diesel. And that dump came into existence in a very odd way. They opened it up, they operated it, Regional Water Quality notified them that they were in violation of a number of dump operations, and that they didn't even have a permit for the dump. And their argument to the Pete Wilson appointed Regional Water Quality was, well, if we're in violation of these dump, we must be a dump. And so the Regional Water Quality approved them as a dump. And that's how that happened. I don't know if any of you looked up on the internet Fort Bragg City Council corruption? Any of you? Well, if you do, 2 years ago, and this is a long history, 2 years ago, they got in trouble for the misappropriation of funds. I think it went on for 10 or 12 years. I'm not sure, because I didn't receive this letter in my mailbox. You familiar with this letter? Has the Mendocino County Unified School District letterhead on it?
It's asking for your approval to transfer.
It's the landowner consent form.
Right.
Yes,
So you're all aware of it?
yes.
And you're aware of the wording and everything in it? So I went to the mailbox on Sunday, and lo and behold, 10 o'clock in the morning, and there this document was. I went in, I said, oh, I don't check my internet all the time. I don't think that's totally unusual, but I know some people check it multiple times in the day, but I don't. If I would have and really been on top of it, 6:30 on June 3rd, I would have received directions to go and look at this form. So I have 7 days until landowner consent form must be completed and submitted by June 10th. And so my first question to you is do you think this is adequate notification?
I don't think I don't think there'll be any problem for people who are submitting it late.
You don't think there'd be any problems? No. Okay. You have to be the landowner. Let's have you stretch your mind a little bit here. You have to be the landowner to consent to this. Let's say you're a renter and your owner doesn't live around here. Mm-hmm. Do you see any problem with someone obtaining a consent in less than 7 days?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that from what I gather, the expectation is that not everybody will sign. No one's going to be cut off their service. And it's just something, and I'm not even clear in my mind exactly why the city of Fort Bragg thinks that LAFCO requires this form, but they do. So it's part of the process. But it's I guess one of the things that happens when a city takes over an operation that it goes beyond the city borders, the city boundaries.
I understand their problem. Nowhere on this letter does it say anything like what you just told me. Does it? Mm-hmm. So, there's people that are on vacation that don't have kids that are going to go on their vacation before school gets out. Mm-hmm. They're on vacation and they get this letter.
I would say not to worry about it. I think these will be taken care of.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I contacted an internet provider on Sunday, mm-hmm. and by the end of Sunday, I've arranged to have a new internet service. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start tomorrow, and then I'm going to go. I did call MCN, and a nice gentleman on Sunday left a message, and a nice gentleman from MCN called me and said, well, what's the word you used? There's a grace period, something to that effect. Nowhere on this letter does it say that. So you're having people respond to this letter, and your seal is on it. Mm-hmm. I think that is just so inconsiderate of the people who have supported MCN all these years. I just want you to know that. Mm-hmm. So, after getting this letter, I wanted to come here and speak. And I didn't want to hear, well, that's kind of already been covered. And so I went to your site to see what the community had said. I found my friends and neighbors speaking to you last February 2025 with their concerns. So I wouldn't have to repeat those. I found that item after going 113 videos to find that. You have videos, if you look at your site, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You're the owner of an internet service provider, and you cannot put your videos in chronological order? I understand, and you folks work hard, and you've got really tough financial decisions to make. But I want to ask you, young man, are you able to have a website where you put your videos in chronological order? Thank you. Thank you. My God, how inconsiderate. So, I understand, and at this one point, I'd like to have this explained to me. Was the MCN valued at $375,000, or were you offering it $375,000? Where did that number come from?
We negotiated with the city of Fort Bragg, and we feel like the agreement we made is to the benefit of our school district and to the city of Fort Bragg. Again, as I said earlier, internet service providers are usually not run by schools, and our school has run this ISP at a high quality compared to any other ISP you could get in this area. And yes, there are glitches, and part of that's because we're a tiny school district and we don't have a lot of money. We're not AT&T, we're not Comcast, and we're very proud of what we've done. And yes, we allow people to come and complain when they have problems. And the people at MCN, I have to thank them for addressing those problems so directly over the phone, unlike other ISPs. You can't do this with AT&T. And so yes, there are concerns from time to time. We've had controversies, and I'm very proud of what we've done. And I think that if you ask this community as a whole, they're going to tell you that the students in this area and the adults have greatly benefited in this tiny little rural area from having an ISP with a high quality of service. And yes, we listen to complaints. And I do need to remind you that it does say 3 minutes per speaker. And again, I've let you speak longer than 3 minutes, and I'd like to thank you for your comments. But I have to tell you, we've done a really good job. And if you ask 50 people in this community who have used MCN, most of them will rave about it. And some of them have had problems, but it's been a really great run of 31 years for a tiny school district to pull this off.
May I have a short?
Yes.
Okay. We have an administration that in our country now that is running its second term. I believe we were lied to, and anyone that believed that in another term that they would that administration would deal honestly with you, you're foolish. And I think you are foolish to think that Fort Bragg is going to treat the outlying areas fairly or treat the MCN employees fairly. I understand that you have hard financial decisions to make. You, I think, made a very poor decision. I think that this letter starts out how MCN customers in the outlying areas are going to be treated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else for public comment? I don't see anybody.
I don't see any.
And sir, just for future reference, I'm not sure where you were looking for the videos chronologically, but they are on the Mendocino Unified School District website by year and then by month.
Try Trent James.
That's
the website.
You're looking for the Mendocino Unified School District. I believe you were, yeah, you can come back.
Thank you.
I believe you said that you were looking for the videos of our our school district meetings and that you couldn't find them chronologically, and they are on our school district website chronologically. So in the future, if you're looking for them, they are there by year and then by month.
Well, I went on my smart TV.
Okay,
Which is,
so
you
you're,
know, it's-
maybe we're looking on YouTube or somewhere else. Yeah, I'm just saying they're on our website, which is all we can control, right? Is our website where we post our
And
meeting.
so you have to go directly to,
MendocinoUSD.org.
you have to go through
Yeah.
what I went through, because thank heavens MCN was holding my hand all this time.
It sounds like you went a different way, and I'm sorry it was difficult to find. I don't want to denigrate the wonderful staff who put all of this up on the website for the public.
In all honesty, that if you go to YouTube, that's kind of what I do. I don't know if that's bizarre, but that's what I do. And if you go to YouTube and you type in Mendocino Unified Board Meetings, please do.
Yeah, no, I have, and you're right. It doesn't always come up chronologically, because it might come up
It's
as
the
what's
same
most
thing you do
popular.
Mendocino County Board of Supervisors. They come up hodgepodge. And that's a YouTube problem, not our problem. We don't run YouTube.
There are grifters living in the desert in vans with Starlink that can keep that on YouTube they have a channel. And in that channel they have things organized that way. And I think if grifters in the desert living in a van can do that, you can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 9.4, approval of the instructional continuity plan.
All right, so this instructional continuity plan needs to be adopted by July 1st, and it should be a part of our comprehensive school safety plan, which I believe was adopted much earlier this year, but we are hopefully going to change that in the future to be approved all in June for the following year. So this plan really would take effect, or just it outlines the process of what we would do if we had a major school closure, such as a natural disaster or COVID. And it really is a template and just kind of this is what we hope to happen, because we all know, well, we don't know what the limitations will be as far as internet service, phone service, even transportation in the event of a school disruption of this magnitude. So I'm happy to answer any questions. It's one of those documents that it's a compliance document that essentially what I wanted to say in there is that we would respond in the same way we did with COVID, and that was when we closed school on Friday, March 13th of 2020, we had school up and running by the following Tuesday. So we would do things very similar if all those infrastructural things were intact. So.
Any comments? Could I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the 25-26 instructional continuity plan.
I'll second.
Student trustee Kinsler?
Yes.
Trustee Floyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. Okay, 9.5, adoption of the 25-26 local control and accountability plan.
So I don't have any changes since we last met on Thursday.
You already received comments from MCOE about this?
No, they really don't provide comments until the fall. We submit it to them, and then they get back to us, and then it's usually like final in August. So, nope.
Okay. I mean, I think it's more routinized than it was when we first started this process.
Yeah.
But we're, I mean, it's becoming less and less an informative document, I guess is what I'll say. It's more pushing paper around to satisfy a bureaucracy in Sacramento
It's true. It has interesting data that we've now can track for many years.
Right.
So there is that element that we get out of it. And, you know, it highlights some of the positions that we have that a lot of other schools don't, like the social worker, like the mental health therapist, like the RTI, specialized positions like that. So.
I mean, do you think that the fact that we're using, you know, this block of funding that, you know, we're carving out of our general fund because it's required for certain student groups, does that protect those programs differently than other programs?
It may, depending on what the board wants to do, but from what I understand, as our unduplicated count keeps going up, we have a little more latitude about what we can put on our OCAP. I remember when we first started this process, the amount of money we needed to spend was about $250,000, and now we're up to $970,000. So it's getting more difficult to find the positions. Meg and I, it's just moving pieces around. It's just a shell game at the end of the day in our district. But some of those positions actually do target those groups of students. So I think in some way it does protect them in a way.
Well, I mean, I noticed that this is the first LCAP I've seen that included the outlying schools as an expense based on the fact that demographically they have a higher percentage of unduplicated students than our programs in Mendocino.
Right.
So, I mean, I think if you put that in there, that's another. I mean, you know, it's another thing that separates those programs out in a way that maybe we should acknowledge. Same as with the social work and the RTI work, as you said. That these have a different level of protection than they did before they were part of our LCAP spending.
Yeah, I mean, we could really put. I feel like we could justify putting nearly every position in here in the LCAP, honestly, except for even the classroom teachers, right? I mean, I think you really could.
I think there are probably districts that do that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that's why I think it's unfortunate that this effort, which I think, you know, from the State Board of Education was intended to get more resources spent on the neediest students, has become just, you know, a shell game.
I think it's become that. I think it's probably become that way for LCFF districts as well.
Uh-huh.
So these things usually come and go. So maybe the LCAP at the end of this next cycle will go away. I don't know. I feel like it's lost its punch for sure. I agree.
Any other comments? I have a motion.
I'll move that we adopt our 25-26 LCAP.
I'll second.
Student trustee Kinsland?
Yes.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. 9.6, approval of the 2025 local performance indicators self-reflection.
We go from one to the next. Compliance document that I think means absolutely nothing. But you got to do it. So, and I bet I can count the number of people who have read this document online on one hand, I bet. You know, I mean, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people are diving into this stuff. But this local indicators section is where we report number of students without access to instructional standards-aligned instructional material and our facilities in good repair. We also report on the implementation of state standards, on how we're doing in offering professional learning and implementation, how we are engaging parents, the survey that we do each year. So that's good data, right? I mean, the parent survey on you know, school connectedness for parents, how much they're a part of the decision-making and volunteering in the school district. That's all good stuff. You know, we have many years of that. And so this document hasn't changed that much from last year, except for the new, some comments on some of the new, just the results of that parent survey. So I don't really have too much more to add on this. I'm happy to answer questions, but honestly, I find this document to be terrible. I mean, being honest with you, what do I have to lose? I mean, it's I think it's a waste of time.
Yep.
I do.
I appreciate your reflection on the self-reflection.
Well, and I think we need to remember that we're a small school district, and we still have to cross all the Ts and dot all the Is that huge school districts with people who just do that do. And so our superintendent has all kinds of paperwork in this tiny district that big districts have a different approach to. Does most of this stuff end up in Ukiah? Does any of it get responded to in Sacramento?
This one goes on the California dashboard, so you can go and look at, this actually is reflected in our dashboard. So this goes to the state.
Okay, could I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the 24-25 local performance indicator self-reflection.
I'll second it.
Student trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Floyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. Okay, 9.7, adoption of the 25-26 MUSD budget.
So I know Meg is online, but I don't believe anything has changed since our public hearing on Thursday.
No, nothing's changed. The only thing in there that's different, I already told you about at the public hearing.
And I think, Meg, something that will change is the salary schedules that are in the budget. The projections are going to be a little different because we've settled on an amount that is different than what's in the budget. So, but that'll be
Right.
a little later.
Any questions or comments? Could I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the 25-26 budget.
Second.
Student trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Floyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. 9.8, consideration of resolution 2025-09 regarding the formation of the Mendocino Unified School District Maintenance Assessment District, MAD.
I'll move that we adopt resolution 2025-09.
I'll second.
Student trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Floyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes. 9.8, consideration of resolution 2025-09 regarding the formation
Wait,
of...
that's the-
Whoops, that's the same one.
Next
Let's
one.
do it again. 9.9, consideration of resolution 2025-10 regarding the Educational Protection Account, EPA.
I'll move to adopt.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Student trustee Quinlan?
Yes.
Trustee Floyd?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer?
Yes.
Trustee Morton?
Yes.
May I just make a comment on that? That lists me as the clerk still, so just need to update the document itself. In the text, not in the signature line.
9.10, consideration of resolution 2025-11 in the matter of the delegation of authority to purchase supplies, equipment, and services. Questions or comments?
We do this every year.
I'll move to approve resolution 2025-11.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Student trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Boyd.
Yes.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer.
Yes.
Trustee Morton.
Yes. 9.11, consideration of Resolution 2025-12 regarding the authorization for 2025-26 interfund transfer. Anybody want to debate this?
I move to adopt.
I'll second.
Student trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Boyd.
Yes.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer.
Yes.
Trustee Morton.
Yes. 9.12, consideration of Resolution 2025-13 regarding the authorization for interfund temporary cash transfers at the close of the year. This resolution provides the flexibility under specific parameters to transfer funds between accounts when necessary as the district closes its books for the year. Questions, comments, motions?
I will move to adopt Resolution 2025-13.
Second?
Student trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Boyd.
Yes.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer.
Yes.
Trustee Morton.
Yes. 9.13, discussion and possible action to amend superintendent's employment contract. The board will consider and may take action to amend the employment contract of the district superintendent. The proposed amendment may include an increase in the superintendent's annual base salary and may also include adjustments to other compensation terms and benefits. Any final action taken will be reported in open session, including a summary of the salary and/or compensation changes in compliance with Government Code 54-953, subdivision C3. This is something we're required to do in open session, and
So I think the contract reflects a 6% increase to the superintendent's salary, no other changes.
Right. Which is the same agreement reached with the MUTA. Any comments, concerns, questions? Could I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Student trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Boyd.
Yes.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
Trustee Schaefer.
Yes.
Trustee Morton.
Yes. 9.14, board policies, bylaws, and administrative regulations, first reading. 9.14.1, board policy 5030, student wellness. And 9.14.2, board policy, administrative regulation, use of school facilities.
So the first one, if you remember, was just the non-discrimination statement on the wellness, on the student wellness. So that one really, I think, is that came out of our cafeteria audit. The one for use of school facilities, you'll see the changes there. I think I captured everything that we discussed the last meeting. All the changes are in red.
Okay. And so that will be on the consent agenda next time?
Yeah.
9.5.
That does need. You
Oh, we do
motion
need
for that-
to
for those.
do a motion for that one. Could I have a motion, please? To adopt the first reading.
So just on page 12, under the fees, under category B, it's hard to, we've got the $10 crossed out so that we're keeping the $45 fee for up to 4 hours,
Yeah.
and a total, and then changing the daily fee to $75, and we're keeping the $100 per season?
Yeah, so that's why we got rid of the $10. We kept the season on there, and then we defined the season on the back, where it says the season. Well, it doesn't. It's not clear where it says it. It's the second to last bullet at the very end. It says the season is defined as 3 months of use. and that's for the adult drop-in sports groups. Maybe I need to make that more clear, but it's for the adult drop-in sports groups.
Okay.
Any comments? Could I have a motion? Oh, that's information only.
No,
No,
it's-
no, we're still on the first reading
I'll
one.
move to approve it as a first reading.
I'll second.
Student trustee Quinlan,
Yes.
trustee Boyd,
Yes.
trustee Griffin,
Yes.
trustee Schaefer,
Yes.
trustee Morton.
Yes. And that was for both documents. 9.15, board policies, bylaws, and administrative regulations, information only. Professional development credit, are there any changes?
I see a addition to Class 1 under B.
Right, let me just get there.
Is that the only change?
Yeah, I gotta get there, hold on, sorry, I closed out. Yes, I believe so.
Any other questions or comments?
Where is that change again?
So this one, this is just changing the wording from the assignment.
First page, under Class 1, the bottom, last sentence in that first section on page 1.
This came out in negotiations, and so it just changes the language just from related to the classes being taught by the teacher to ones to the assignment of the teacher applying for credit.
What's the difference between what you're teaching and what you're assigned to?
Taught. I'm forgetting the actual discussion. Do you remember this? Kim, do you remember it?
Yeah. I think the idea was that the language around the courses being taught just stuck specifically to the classes being taught, whereas there's so much more that goes into the role of a teacher and your assignment. And so you might be teaching algebra, but you also might be a class advisor and doing an 8-week thing around first aid. And so if you took some first aid courses, they should be able to apply. It doesn't apply to the math course you're teaching, but it applies to your assignment as a teacher at the site.
That makes sense? Any other comments or questions on that?
This will come back as a first reading too, and so I could be wrong about this too, Kim, but didn't we put in here something about the undergraduate that we had discussed accepting undergraduate classes, especially for CTE?
I think it doesn't have to be changed because the
Okay.
contract was changed to include all units, so it doesn't have to be in that document.
Okay, all right.
This document is called Exhibit 4131. What is it an exhibit to? It's not a board policy, it's not an administrative regulation, it's just an exhibit? Do you have any idea?
It may be. I don't know. We can look up the policy to see if there is a 4131. I don't remember a policy.
It just seems like a weird
Yeah.
name for a standalone document.
It probably isn't standalone, you're probably right. There's probably at least a policy and maybe an AR too.
That's correct. We were just making a change to the exhibit.
Okay.
You know, I think it's been a while, but if we could get a PDF of you know, all the the current policies. At least we'd have them to be able to look at somewhere. Guess
Sure, they're all online also
They're
on the
all
website.
online?
Yep,
So we could go online right now and look at.
you could find them all.
Yeah, it's just under, it's under
That's what I
personnel.
was going to ask.
You can mess them up and keep them on your toes.
Okay, future agenda items. What is Chromebook assets?
I believe that allows the district to sell or give the Chromebooks away when they've
Ah.
served their purpose, but that's my guess, only because I've heard that's what's done at the end of the school year, and when people graduate, they can buy their Chromebook for $20, I think, when
Oh, no, they just
clearly
give it for
obsolete.
free.
Or they just give it to you for free.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
you just sign a thing the note gives you.
I was given poor information.
Yes, here's
The prices dropped over time.
To zero? Price of zero? It's a great
As
price.
the value drops.
How are we doing with amount of technology available to students? Is it pretty much easy for anybody to access what they need to access at this point?
We are still one-to-one Chromebook at the high school, and then we have enough Chromebooks at the K-8 that classes share. But I think we have enough for the entire middle school to have one. Do you know how many Chromebooks we have at the middle school? 120, 180? I don't know, 100? Oh. So two sets of 30. I thought we had more.
Yeah, we have about 40 class sets.
Okay.
So maybe 70.
Okay.
Anybody have anything to add to future agenda items? Then I declare this meeting adjourned. We'll see you at the Albion School.
We never set that special board meeting.
Oh,
I guess I
right.
can do that over.
I can undeclare.